Okay, well, we'd like to welcome you to our city council meeting tonight. We appreciate your attendance with us. We'd like to welcome citizens here as well as youth. We appreciate your attendance here. And to begin with, we'll get to the right agenda here. Hold on. Maybe. Sorry. There we go. We'll begin with an invocation by Council Member Mike Snelson and a pledge by Council Member Logan Millsap.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful for the opportunity we have to meet together tonight as a council, staff, and residents of Springville. We ask for thy Spirit to be with us here, that we can have an amicable discussion of the issues that are presented before us tonight. We're thankful for the blessings that we have and for the opportunity we have to live in this beautiful community, and we do it in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I need an approval of this meeting's agenda as posted to the public.
I'll make a motion to approve the meeting's agenda as written.
I need a second.
I will second that.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay. Again, we'd like to welcome the students and citizens here and any young people who are here. This young man over here, if he's visiting, he's more than welcome to come up to the front, unless you're the one that has something that we'd like to say. Is that, are you here for that? Is that right? Is that correct? Okay. Well, you're welcome to come up and sit on the rostrum with us if you want to through the meeting. We just invite you up here. There's a lot of candy. So if you like candy, we just usually get them so sugared up when they go home they don't sleep till quite late. Oh, Josh, there's a young lady there. Sorry. Appreciate it. We'll welcome you here. So are you here for school? Are you? Wonderful. Would you like to come up and join us up here? You are welcome to. Don't put any pressure on you, but you're more than welcome to. Are you related to the guy next to you? Well, now we really feel sorry for you, so. But you're welcome to come on up. Yeah. Okay, Jake, do you want to grab a chair? Oh, she's got a chair right there. Okay, that's wonderful. Okay, we have two items that in relationship to public comment. So we'll ask them both to come up here one at a time. You can take 3 or 4 minutes and just tell us what your thoughts are. We can't take any official action in relationship to what you say, but we'd love to hear from you. I think it's really, frankly, the best part of the meeting. So Clay Mills.
Thanks for having this. Sorry for the attire. Just came from Cub soccer, so
You're good.
do what we can. So what I wanted to just bring up is I volunteer and do a lot of coaching, sometimes 3 sports at a time for my kids, and I love to do it. That being said, I know a lot of the coaches, and we're always talking to one another, and sometimes we aren't able to coach, and in those times we're still called upon and requested, please help us out. Can you coach? We know you like coaching. Help us out. And we love to coach, so we end up saying yes anyway. And for one instance, last year for Cub soccer, I know there was over 60 coaching positions that need to get filled, and just nobody was volunteering. And so we picked those up, me and the regular coaches, I guess you could say. And we're just wanting to just put it out there. Is there a chance that maybe we could talk about coaches can get reimbursed entirely at the end of the season if they've coached 100% of the games or 90% of the games? And we think that if that's there, that maybe some other parents who don't normally coach would feel more incentivized to coach, and that way it wouldn't always go back to us, because even though we do want to coach, sometimes life happens and we just don't have the time to put in the extra hours after work to help out these young kids. And so we just want to put that out there. I know that they did go back to reimbursing like $20 at the end of each season, which is great. We just want to put it out there to help kind of incentivize new parents to come into that whole coaching aspect.
Okay, we appreciate that comment. There's a lady right here that she can grab you. You probably know her.
Yes.
And you're welcome to have a conversation with her. And we appreciate knowing this is something that's very helpful for us as we go through the budget process. So thank you very much. So is it Henry? Come on up, Henry. So are you related to a Jeff Mills? Is that your grandpa? Is it? And what's your grandma's name? Mary Sue. There you go. Well, some of us went to school with Mary Sue. And she's a pretty nice lady. In fact, I saw Jeff this morning. So you got a pretty nice grandma and grandpa. So we're very grateful that you'd come. Henry, it takes a lot of courage to stand there, and you just relax. Just relax and just tell us what your thoughts are. You've got here that you wiffle ball tournament for kids. So tell me about what you're thinking about.
So me and my friends, we started, once the wiffle ball fields came out, we started playing there every day because it's a lot better than backyard wiffle ball. And we saw our dad's tournament and we saw how fun it looks, so we wish that there was a tournament for us, because we've been wanting to do a tournament, because we've been making little teams and having practices with other kids, and we've been become kind of bored playing with the same people over again.
Wonderful. That's a great idea.
I've seen you guys out there. You're out there all the time. It's cool.
Now see what you've done with wiffle ball, Stacy. You put two ball diamonds in there, and now it's just blowing up.
Wonderful. Well, that's a great suggestion. Now we have Stacy. We've passed that information on to her, and she just heard from somebody who I think would just love to have a tournament going on. So we'll let Stacy kind of stew on that just a little bit and see what can happen. Thank you so much, Henry, for coming.
Yes, thank you.
I love you coming. Thank you.
That's great. Thanks.
See, that wasn't too scary, was it? And you can even be treated with candy if you want. We want to come up here and get some candy? Of course. There's 2 drawers full. All right. Sounds good.
I got her to take a Snickers.
So how old is Henry? 11. At 11, I would never have done what he just did, so I really admire him. So thank you. Yeah, he's a good young man.
Get some for your dad too, Henry.
He didn't do quite as good as you, but give him a couple. Okay, we have some items on the consent agenda, the minutes as well as some appointments. Any questions in relationship to consent agenda? Okay, I'll entertain a motion for approval of them.
I motion that we approve the consent agenda as written.
I will second that.
Those in favor say, oops, excuse me,
Roll call.
it's a roll call vote.
Yeah.
It's not. Okay, sounds good. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed. Wonderful. All right. John, we have a discussion in relationship to our MOU with the Springville Museum of Arts.
Yes, Mayor, council members, there's going to be about 3 or 4 of us speaking on this. We're going to start with, if it's okay with you, Mayor, with Emily. Is that right? Emily, yes. Thanks.
It's an act in 3 parts.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm going to go through a little bit of the history of the MOU, but before I start, I just wanted to remind everyone this weekend is the Arts Festival. So please come out. It'll be Friday from 3 to 7 right here downtown, and then at 8 p.m., concert at Arts Park, kick off the weekend, and then Saturday 10 to 5 again down here. We're going to have plein air paint out, plein air sculpt out, I think close to around 50 artist vendors, free projects for kids, performances all day here at the gazebo and at the library and at the Presbyterian Church, film showcase at the Rivoli. So you won't get bored. There's going to be tons to do. So tell your friends and family. And then An exciting thing this month, the anniversary of the 100th Salon and the collection that the high school students built in the 20th century, but then we continued to build as the association, which you'll continue to learn about tonight. There's 2 national publications that publish articles about Springville and our collection. So this one's in Fine Art Magazine, and then this one, Fine Art Connoisseur, published an article and published this piece that we just purchased from the last salon on the cover. And this is one of the pieces that, because of a PAR grant the association got, the high school students helped choose, the current high school students. So pretty exciting to get.
I kind of helped choose that. That was my
Yeah,
favorite
and-
piece, actually.
And Councilman Snelson, and that's the wrong page. I even marked it and I somehow messed it up. So there's the. So if you guys want to look at these, I can show them to you after too. But exciting to get that national press about the museum.
Very good.
So yeah, I will just go through a little bit about the history of the relationship between the city and the Springville Museum of Art Association, which is, as you know, our 501c3 nonprofit. So in 1903 is when Springville started collecting art for the students. Gifts from Cyrus Dallin and John Hafen started the collection with their gifts to the students. Sorry, that was redundant. I said that a little bit clunky. Between 1903 and 1975, various community organizations, including all of these different predecessors to the Springville Museum of Art Association, and Jay went through as we were writing this, and there's about maybe half a dozen different names that went by throughout this period, assisted Springville High School in managing its art collection. In 1975, the city took legal ownership of the museum building and grounds. And then in the 1980s, under Vern, so I included a really great photo of Vern from the
I would
80s.
like
Oh, that's
that.
that's all. That is cool.
The association was incorporated as a 501c3 nonprofit organization and required the legal title to that art collection that had been built by the high school students, and then operated the museum for several decades. In 2016, Troy and Rita and Mayor Wilford Clyde at the time spent a lot of time updating the Memorandum of Understanding, and there was a big shift in some of the operating structure of the museum where more of the programming and staffing came onto the city side from the nonprofit side. And so that was the last time the MOU was majorly updated, was in 2016. And this is a graphic I use when I'm training people about how the museum works. Most people, when they think of the museum, there's no difference to them between the city side and the association side. It's just the museum. And when we talk about the museum, it really is all of that. It's the building, it's the collection, it's the programs, it's the exhibitions. All of it is together, the museum. But the city is over the building, exhibitions, and programs. And the 501c3, the association, is over owns and oversees the permanent collection and fundraising for the museum. So I'll now turn the time over to Jay Hansen, who was the board president for several years and just now is on the board and is no longer the president, but started overseeing the update of the MOU, and Chris McAfee, our current board president.
So the question is, why are we updating this now? And the simple answer is that it's just good corporate policy to review these kinds of foundational documents periodically, to make sure they're still relevant. And as I was elected as president about 5 years ago, and Chris was there with me, we realized that we had 2 documents. We had the memorandum of understanding with the city and also our bylaws. Both of those had some challenges with them. They had been around a long time. There'd been little incremental changes to it, so they were kind of like goat paths rather than a well laid out city. And just we weren't doing things the way that either of these documents said, and yet the way we were doing them, we felt was correct, and so we felt the need to update these. So we embarked on a process to try to get these updated, and 5 years later, we got it done. It's one of those things that it's just hard to keep high on your priority list. We'd start and stop numerous times. We'd have new people come on, and you'd have to get everybody updated. And so we, as we got to this last year and we were going to have our elections again, I realized I wasn't going to be able to serve as president again. Just age is catching up. And but it's one of those things I didn't want to turn one of these messes over to the new people. I wanted to make sure that was done. So we got together, and I'm going to let Chris talk about the process that we actually use, but that's how kind of why we're here today right now.
So the old document was really difficult to wrap our heads around. And I think, whenever we tried to describe to people the relationship between the city and the association, I think it was hard for them to wrap their heads around. So we wanted to make it understandable. So our process was really to go through the original MOU, and I would say that most of what was in the original moved over to the new MOU. But we would take stabs at writing it, and then we would come together as an executive committee, and we would try to eliminate any language that was unnecessary and simplify it as much as possible to clarify exactly what the roles of the city were versus the roles of the association. And we hired an attorney to help us with that.
He was volunteer.
He volunteered. Okay.
He was a BYU attorney, and
I think we offered to hire him. So when we wanted to make a change, we would ask him if it was still, the language was still legally okay. And then we didn't want to presume that we knew what the city expected, so we also ran it by John, and John and Dave, our attorney, also ran over it together. And that's where we are today.
I really don't have much more to add, but I'm going to go over this agreement. They pretty much summarized where it is and how it's going and everything else. So what was the process? They've already talked about that. And then the new agreement, what the key changes are, has already been said, it is basically just a simplified agreement from the 2016 agreement. Before the 2016 agreement, there was a prior MOU to that, and it was very wordy. And so to get to the 2016 agreement, it was still wordy. Now it's even more simplified now, and it clarifies some things. In 2016, one of the big things that happened is the city took on more responsibility, but it also took on more ability to make money from the museum. At one point, the rental fees, for instance, they were divided between the association and the museum and so forth. 2016, that was cleaned up, and now the city does get more of the rentals and I think a few other of the funding sources. One thing that the new agreement does is the 2016 agreement allowed the association 3 events in the year, and now it allows the association to have as many as they want to promote association needs and to do fundraising and other things like that. One of the things about this agreement is there's amazing people on the board, but we also have an amazing director and staff. They work together on all the different exhibitions and everything else, and that's what we're trying to do with the agreement. The agreement that you've seen in your packet, there is a table. We've kind of summarized that table into even simpler words for this discussion tonight. And I don't know if you want me to go through it all, but you can kind of just see it there. Again, the main things that the city does is it runs the museum. It provides very high caliber, well-educated museum experts. The board also has incredible people on their board that just do a tremendous job. And so between the two, the board and the city, the collection is overseen in just an amazing way, and the museums just ran wonderfully. And that's all we're trying to do in this agreement. And I'm not going to go over everything, but great collection, great museum, great outcome, great product all around. And this agreement's to continue with what we're doing, but also to make it a little more clear. So any questions for me?
I don't have any questions, but I've been serving with the art board since I've been on the council, and I've seen board members come and go, and I don't remember when Jay and Chris got on there, but I think they've been on about maybe as long as me, maybe a little bit before me. But to watch these guys on the executive committee and the rest of the board from the outside, I haven't been involved in what they're writing or anything, but from the outside, to watch their commitment to the board, to the museum, and to the city has been phenomenal. They do a great job, and it's very impressive what they've accomplished.
And the board right now, the current board's amazing, but we've had just throughout the last 3, 4, 5 decades, just amazing people on that board. It's been fun to watch. The way that this has been set up is a little bit different than what you see kind of in a lot of different organizations, but it's worked well, and we've just had some great people serve and give a lot of hours, so it's been amazing. So any questions? Just one last thing besides what's in the table. There is a 10-year term on this. It automatically renews for 10 years. You can get out at any time for cause. You can also get out 6 months before a term, or if you just want to get out, you've got to give 2 years notice. So both entities have an ability to make arrangements for what's either going to happen in the museum or what's going to happen with the collection. And then even if you look in the table, the city is going to indemnify, and if there's some kind of damage to the collection because the city is negligent, but also in the agreement the city maintains its government immunity, which does give the city some good defenses, and then also limits liability as well. So.
Okay, very good. Logan?
I don't know who's the best person to answer this question, but when we talk about public art projects throughout the city, are those part of the collection?
No, that's a great question. The collection itself is just what the association owns. And so when we do public art, that doesn't become part of the association. That's part of the city's collection.
So like statues to live by, that's not part of the museum collection?
No, it's not part of the museum collection, and there's even question like what collection, who actually owns that collection on some of it. I mean, some of it's pretty clean and it's pretty clear that the city owns it, but there's also some things we're still trying to clean up.
Okay.
Other questions in relationship to this? Okay.
Thank you.
Very good. Pretty clean. I'll entertain a motion now.
I'll make a motion to approve resolution number 2024-26, authorizing the signing of the updated legal memorandum of understanding between the Springville Museum of Art Association, the museum's 501c3 nonprofit, and Springville City.
Okay, I have a motion. I need a second.
I'll second.
Okay, roll call vote. Jake?
Yes.
Logan?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Mindy?
Yes.
Well, I just would add what Mike said. I just think he said it very well, that we've just been very blessed to have great leaders in this association. And we just thank you for your time and effort. And it, it's so quietly done. And you only know when things blow up that, there's need for good people, and to have good people there, it just shows you how well things run. So thank you very much for everything that you do. And please express our appreciation to the board and the time and effort that they go through. They really take a vested interest in it, so thank you. And thanks, Mike, for bringing that up. Okay, are there other items that need to be reviewed? Okay, I'll entertain a motion then for adjournment.
I motion that we adjourn this meeting.
I'll second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? You have to get your looks from somebody like